Hey, everybody. This is Michelle, and I am sitting down today to speak with a dear friend of mine, fellow hot yoga teacher, and she's also big right now these days into Kundalini and nutrition, and she's zooming in right now from Hawaii. Everybody, Noa Lakshmi.
Hello.
So I introduced you to some degree as a hot yoga teacher, even though that's how we met many years ago. That is not necessarily what you are involved in as much these days. But I wanted to just take it back a little bit to those days when we were both in the hot room in New York City, teaching and practicing, and just ask you about how long it's been since you've had your hot yoga practice.
Well, I started Bikram yoga in 2000, started practicing in 2004. So that's, oh my God, that's 16 years ago. Yeah, 2004, and I became a teacher in 2006. We were the last training in LA.
So then you went to your training in LA, and then you taught in New York City, which is where we met. And how many years did you teach out there?
I was a full-time teacher in the hot room 24/7 for 2004, 4 years in New York.
Yeah, yeah. And being a 24, I know exactly what that means. Like full time being in the hot room, not only teaching but also practicing. It's a lifestyle. It's a commitment. We do it for the love. And it was nice to have crossed paths with you at that point in time. And the reason I brought that part of your history of your practice up at this point is because I have had the pleasure to sit down with leaders in the hot yoga community with the intention of bringing different voices into the mix, into the narrative, and hear different philosophies, different backgrounds, different stories. um, I know you haven't really been plugged into the hot yoga world recently. You've been exploring other forms of natural healing. However, you might have got caught wind that we as a collective went through some tumultuous time, and now are emerging from this time. So with this emergence, I just feel like, my goodness, these voices need to be heard. This diversity needs to rise to the surface, because Bikram yoga, as it once was known, but now as we're transitioning, more and more of us are referring to it as the 26 into practice. It's not one person behind this thing. It's so many amazing people. And so to have cross paths with you all those years ago, and weaving it now to in a few moments to where we're at right now and how we've reconnected, it's just such a testament to that diversity, to that beautiful fabric of different experiences.
Yeah, 100%. It's interesting. Just before this call, I was in another call and we were talking about the Kundalini yoga, actually, and Yogi Bhajan and everything that came up, came out about him. And then I brought up Bikram and all of that. I'm not into politics myself. When everything went down with Bikram and all this stuff, it's not my thing. I don't, they're all humans. No, Bikram is a human being and he has his shadow parts or whatever. And I'm not interested in that. To me, I will always be grateful, even though I don't actively teach Bikram yoga. And I might come back to it. I still love the hot room. I love the sequence. I recommend it to my clients. Some clients that I feel like, you need Bikram yoga. That's the prescription for you. And the transition into calling it 26 and 2, that's just the evolution of anything else in life, where yeah, you remove the one person and the name, and it's actually, well, this is the 26 and 2, this is the method, and that is what is helping people, is the 26 and 2, and doing it in a hot room, and doing it, um, having it be taught by people that love it, love the art, love the sequence, and they understand the body and they understand the mechanics of of the sequence. And so again, will always be grateful, and also grateful for the Bikram community, because I know I'm still connected with so many people from the Bikram days. If it's NYC and from other places, but it's mainly NYC because that was my hub. That was my Bikram yoga hub.
Yeah. So true. So true that it's the yoga that's helping, and then there's those people now behind this practice who are walking paths of integrity, paths of sovereignty, and who are inspiring leaders. So that's why that was the inspiration behind these conversations, these interviews. So thank you for again just taking the time to chat with me today. Now, with this hot yoga no longer a spotlight in your life, you mentioned you have transitioned to a different style of movement. You bring up Kundalini. How did that transition even happen? I mean, from going to teaching 24/7 in New York City to moving to Hawaii and just like calling it a day with Kundalini, like how did that even happen?
I literally lived in the hot room, like pretty much teaching and practicing, and I was managing a studio in the Hamptons as well. And I lived in that hot room and I loved it. So that was my life. And it's just like natural evolution of things. I moved to Maui, and I was still teaching Bikram yoga there, and I was still practicing. And then I started feeling a little bit, not dissatisfaction, I can say. I started feeling like my body wanted to move in different ways after so many years of doing the 26 and 2, and not even like no other yogas are even welcome here. And when I start practicing vinyasa, I dabbled in Ashtanga a little bit, but that never really grabbed me so much. But the vinyasa flow was like, whoa. I really enjoyed that practice, and I was still doing Bikram and Vinyasa and combining it. It wasn't until I moved to California in 2014, and that's when Kundalini came into my life, and it was like such a aha moment for me. Like, oh my God, this is amazing, because Kundalini yoga is very different than the asana practice. It's called Kundalini yoga, but it's really its own thing. And what I like to do now is to combine. I do a vinyasa flow in combination with Kundalini yoga, with the breath and the mantras and the certain exercises and the sets. And my nature is like, I'm a little bit of a rebel, and I like to blend things. And again, still very much the knowledge that I have from the 26 and 2 in terms of the body and moving the body in alignment. Like, I'm such a stickler when it comes to alignment because of Bikram yoga, because that was my foundation.
One of the gifts of this quarantine has been getting to reconnect with many different people in my life. People who, so I don't know about you, Noah, but I've traveled and moved so much throughout my life. And it's just, I finally feel like I found roots, and I'm setting down some roots, which feels amazing. But all my life, I've just moved from place to place. The gift in that has been connecting with so many different people. So I've been able to dive deep in relationships, even though the time frame of the relationship was relatively short. So now, being in this place where we're at, I've been able to connect with so many people from my past. And you are one of the people that I've managed, that I eventually ended up connecting with as soon as this thing all hit. And it was, I have to say, like, reconnecting with you was beautiful in so many ways, but just seeing you and witnessing you and seeing that you're clearly someone who's walking their talk. You're putting yourself out there as someone who helps people thrive in health and wellness, and like, you are walking your talk. So please tell me what it is that you're doing, how it is that you're doing it, and yeah, like, what is working for you these days?
Oh, wow. That's a loaded question. Let's see. So another thing that really I'm grateful for, and Bikram yoga was a huge catalyst for my own personal healing. I wrote a book 3 years ago, that published a book 3 years ago that is called Master Your Life with Love. And it's about self-love and the journey to get to self-love and loving oneself, and what does it mean and how does it look. And I talked about, in my book, I talked about yoga being the catalyst for my healing, because, and I was describing my first Bikram yoga class, that the biggest challenge for me wasn't the heat, it wasn't the postures, it was looking at myself in the mirror for freaking 90 minutes. And I look back and I know that that was the catalyst for me. It opened the door. Of course, little did I know that it opened up this entire world in front of me of spirituality and my own personal healing and personal growth. And so I've been walking that path ever since then, ever since I walked into that first Bikram class in 2004. And so what I am big about and what I teach people the most, more than anything else, really is self-love, because that is the fuel behind making choices that support someone's health and well-being. So I've been focusing in my own life personally on that, on how do I love myself more? How does it look? What does it look like on a day-to-day basis? And one of the things that I'm passionate about, and that is this, and one of the things that I'm passionate about, and that is huge in my life, is treating bodies as the temples that they are. Because I see the body as the vehicle for the unique soul, right? You have a unique soul, I have a unique soul, everybody else has their own unique soul, and the vehicle that we get to use is this body, and this body carries so much intelligence in it. However, just like Bikram always used to say, having doesn't mean anything if you don't know how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, learning for myself and teaching others how to use their body by well, what's the fuel that you put in it? So what food do you eat? What food actually activates your DNA and your cells in the way that they were designed to be activated and function? What thoughts do you put in your mind? Do we carry within our cells, within our tissues, and how to address that in a healthy way? So it's a very holistic view when it comes to the health and how to take care of, well, the body and everything that comes with it.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree. Body is a temple, and what goes in is important. It's vital, and having more of just awareness around that is life changing. Can be life changing, which is, just kind of brings me back to my initial reaction seeing you after all those years. And I mean, a healthy lifestyle is a healthy lifestyle, you know what I mean? And it shows on the person, in the way they carry themselves, how they live their lives. And just again, witnessing you was like, oh my God, okay, first of all, this girl has that aged a day. I think you look even like more vibrant and younger than you did 10 years ago. So, and so it's things like that that make me hungry to go to have these kind of conversations. Like, what are you doing? Like, like, what does in your case, what does self-love look like in practice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things for me, self-love, is to make choices that support my well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's a deeper conversation. But when it comes to the body, and this is my path, this is how I live, this is what I teach people, is the kind of fuel that I put in my body. And I've been living this lifestyle for pretty much the last decade, mainly living foods and simple, very, very close to nature, eating fresh food, eating the light food that carries that level of energy and vitality and electricity, because that's what our bodies are. It's just electricity and vibrancy in every single cell. So on a physical level, to me, it's really about the fuel, and nourishing myself is an act of self-love. Because if I see my body as a temple, then, well, am I going to just shove junk in my temple? No. Like, why would I do that? And, to be completely honest and transparent and just vulnerable, like for me, the healing that started with Bikram yoga and looking myself in the mirror, I was suffering from a lot of body image issues and eating disorders. So that's just the extreme of the other side of starving myself, just because I wanted to look a certain way. And I'm so grateful for the path where I can nourish myself so beautifully and release all those emotions and the mindsets and the beliefs around my body. And if I'm supposed to look a certain way, and it's more about how do I feel. And when somebody feels good, they look good too. And it's just inevitable,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Thank you for sharing that piece about your initial intention with the practice of showing up just so you can start looking a certain way, and how that eventually evolved to focusing more on how you feel. I can totally relate to that. I feel like I spent the first 2 years of my hot yoga practice just forcing my body into shapes, and forcing my body to look a certain way, because I was now a yoga teacher, so therefore I had to look like a yoga teacher, whatever that means, right? And I had a vision of that in my head, and it took injury through the practice for me to back off and start seeing this as a therapeutic practice instead. And I know you rolled around New York and taught at a few different studios. I don't know if you ever happened to practice with Robin out in Park Slope. But in those days it was Park Slope. Now they have a different studio in near Prospect Park. But in those days I remember like landing in Robin's class, and it was the first time I'd heard someone say, like, slow down and breathe. And so that was my pivoting moment of taking this practice and seeing it differently, and practicing it and teaching it differently. So I can totally relate to what you just said.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the beautiful thing about self-love. It's not a destination. It's love affair that you have with life. And just like any other relationship, it keeps getting better and better. It keeps going deeper and deeper. And the most important relationship that we have is with ourselves. Like you can walk out of other relationships, but it's like, hey, 24/7, 365, here I am. And in this body. And how amazing can you feel in this body? There's no limits to that. It keeps getting better and better, and it's not a function of age. Just like you said, it's not that I just look the same as I looked 10 years ago, or even better. I feel so much better. It's just like, oh my God. And I tell my mom, "Oh, Mom, I'm going backwards. I'm
Yeah,
totally going backwards. Age is just not even an issue
yeah,
for me."
for sure. And it's
Yeah.
funny that through you found that your life and your nutrition plays a big part in going backwards, because that's how I, and I'm sure you agree, this is how I feel about the 26 and 2. That's a fountain of youth right there. Like, even if you like, for even if you didn't put one, like, that many healthy things in your mouth, if you just showed up to that practice, like, boom, your body will already start slowing down in the aging process.
100%, 100%. So it's a combination of all of it. Because, I remember even being in the Bikram world, and it's like, it's all good. We're all humans, but I would see a little bit of a disconnect from many people, and not just in the Bikram, but just in general, in the yoga world, a little bit of a disconnect of practicing something that is so, so supportive for someone's well-being, and detoxifying the body, and um, creating a state of homeostasis and harmony in the body. And then outside of class or outside of the studio, just kind of, the disconnect of the food that somebody's eating, or some of the habits that don't necessarily support what it is that you do in the heart room. And so the combination of the practice with other practices outside of the yoga room, that's the winning ticket. That's an
Amen, sister.
that's absolutely
Amen.
the winning ticket. And then you
Yep.
don't need to suffer in the hot room so much.
That's true too, because I don't know about you, but I found that every time I went into the hot room, there was literally a mirror, but that was also a huge 90-minute metaphorical mirror, because how I felt for 90 minutes was a straight up mirror to how I am doing in life. And when I'm
Mhm.
feeling absolute shit, that's because I haven't been doing XYZ. And then also I have felt like, this is hard to believe for most people who think that, oh, it's 90 minutes of torture. I have experienced 90 minutes of bliss because I've been treating myself,
Blissed.
right? Right? So it's how the body is
Exactly.
being treated, that then the hot practice just mirrors back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, so you know this already, Noah. But for those of you watching, I I when we were forced to close our doors, and when at the onset of the pandemic, I took some time to just, like many people, to just sit and let the shock kind of wave to just wash over, and just then collect my thoughts. And I realized, like, holy smokes, yes, of course it's sucks that I had to close my business, like many other people have had to close their businesses, and essentially, just especially after opening just such a short time ago. However, I realized, dang, like, I'm 3 months in this game. I'm already like in this rat race, or this hamster wheel of like going through the motions, waking up and doing the things every single day. And by the time this thing hit, I was already feeling pretty worn out. And so one of the blessings and the gifts so far from this time has been deciding, making that commitment. Because when you and I connected, Noah, my adrenals were fried. I had like biggest bags under my eyes. I felt exhausted. I felt just like depressed. I was just like, I remember that phone call, I was just feeling like crap. And then of course you were like just like exuding like vibrant health. And I'm like, okay, like okay, this is a clear path right now that I must take. I can continue to feed into the stress, or I can right now at this moment take charge and do something for myself, so that when this wears off, when we emerge back into the world, when I open back up the studio, like, I know how I want to feel, and it's not how I feel right now, not how I felt that moment. So then connecting with you was pretty serendipitous, because you've then shared with me some of your practices, which I have now employed for myself. So one of these practices is this 30-day transformation. It's a commitment. It's showing up. Consistency is key to any practice. And the practice that I chose to adopt, thanks to you, is making me commit every day for 30 days to show up to this thing. And I feel so good. Like, just, I'm like halfway through this thing. I'm like, okay, this is clearly like a huge piece that was missing in my life, that now, having this in my back pocket, I can yeah, like let's go, like, let's open the studio in a few months, or whenever it's going to be, like let's go, let's keep going. I feel like I now have the energy, the vitality, you, even like the feeling of youth, returning back. And now, just like, okay, I've stumbled into this practice. Now I need to pretty much put the word out, and connect with folks who value the investment in self, who value the investment in self-love. And so yeah, so you and I are basically partnering up to serve people in this way, so that you, you have so much experience in so many different fields, but particularly as a detoxification specialist, you are helping people every day to emerge from ruts, and emerge into vibrant health. So I'm stoked that this all of this has just flowed in the way it's flowed, that now we're partnering up. And to be honest with you, like, I've also just been connecting with so many other people in the hot yoga industry, and in our own ways, we're partnering up. So it's like, okay, there's this time of pause, is allowing for breath air, for deep breaths, and for connection with others, connection with self, and a clear choice to make right now, like, how do we want to feel? And then connecting with other people who want to feel the same way. And it's these people are rising to the surface. So now connecting and making these connections, and making these collaborations has just been like, it's so like just the most like just nourishing kind of energy for me. So to throw it back your way a little bit, just to talk about what like how yeah like how how what your work is right now with your clients is feeding into basically my world of like helping my hot yoga people, and just how we're combining how we're combining our superpowers, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh man, I just love that transmission that just came through you. That was so epic. Ah, that was so epic. Yeah. So thank you for that transmission. That was so freaking epic. And that's what happens when you clean your body, is also what comes through you. There's such clarity of mind and precision in what you say, and this energetic vibrancy that comes through you and through the words. So just thank you for that. That was just absolutely brilliant. And yeah, as I said earlier, the practice that you do in the room and how valuable it is, essential and actually crucial to combine it with a supportive, nourishing, healthy, and clean lifestyle outside of the hot room.
Yeah.
And so we are bringing our superpowers together to support people in that way, where they can make choices outside of the hot room that are healthy, that are nourishing, that are supporting them on all levels. And as a detoxification specialist, and I know some people like, what the heck is that? Um, I've studied under Dr. Morris, and he's one of my main teachers, and he teaches about regenerative detoxification. And what it means is that in order for us to experience true health first, and that just makes sense, right? If you want to clean your house and have it be beautiful, sparkly, got to get rid of all the junk and the gunk first, right? There's a layer of cleaning that must happen in order for the house to be super clean and pristine. And so it's the same thing with the body, that there's levels of junk and gunk that we must address through the process of proper detoxification. And I emphasize the word proper, because there's a lot of trends out there and cleanses and blah, 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 blah. There's a way to do things. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And so the proper detoxification of the body is number one stage in order to achieve radiant and true health.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that I did when I did, because where I was headed, it was I was quickly deteriorating mentally, emotionally, physically. Goodness, it was quickly happening. It was quickly collapsing. So I'm glad we connected when we did, and I'm glad I said yes when I did, because where I am now, I mean, and I'm not even done with this transformation. Where I'm at, it's light years away from where I was even just 2 weeks ago, which is, just to bring it all back and wrap up this conversation. It's the times we're in are, you can look at it through many different lenses, and you and I have had many conversations already in agreeing that this is a potent time, a fertile time to make some powerful changes and create some powerful shifts. And so I already shared that I will not be live streaming yoga classes for the reasons that I've already explained. And I feel strongly about that. I feel that it's okay. We can put the hot yoga to the side for a minute. Like, it's okay. Like, let's come back to it in the way that it's supposed to be done, and in the right environment, and all. Like, let's just put it to the side, and let's shift our focus instead to other practices that are going to only enhance our hot yoga practice once we get back into the hot room. So this 30-day transformation that you're guiding me through, huge key. And some of my students are also enrolled in this, and we're holding space for them, and we're all going through this together. So I'm like, okay, doing this is going to support the hot yoga practice, and similarly doing other practices that I'm sharing with my people are going to support a hot yoga practice. So I just want to thank you for being such a lighthouse for me and for my students at this time, because clearly you walk your talk, you know what you're doing. It shows in just the way you are and the way you're showing up for the world. And I am wicked grateful to have you in our team and on our side.
Oh, I'm so grateful for you, Michelle. Oh my God. That's the power of how connected we all are. Because you and I haven't spoken, I don't even know the amount of years. Like we haven't been in touch, it's just not at all. And you literally dropped in my field because that's how we connected. You were praying for something
Mm,
and I picked up on that.
mm, yeah. And similarly, there's I know there's people out there who are praying for what it is that I have found, for what it is that you have found. And now it's like, okay, let's get clear on what this is. Let's make sure that that people are understanding what it is, that people know what it is, and help, help them, because there's at the end of the day, with everything that's going on, it really comes down to our health. I mean, goodness gracious, right? So to be supporting it in this way and to be helping others, it feels like we're exactly where we're supposed to be, and doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Well, this is pressing the reset button. Right? And what you're talking about, the 30-day transformation, it's a health reset.
Yeah.
It's a health reset. And so globally, we're pressing the reset button.
Mm-hmm.
Mother Earth is pressing the reset button by saying, everybody just slow down. Just like you said at the beginning, slow down, breathe, reevaluate. And it's a perfect time to press the reset button, especially on your health.
Yeah. So we are holding space for folks who want to be proactive in feeling better. That's primarily the goal, feeling better, because we're gonna look good when we feel good. And I don't know about you, girl, but I am so over trying to get like a six pack or a super flat belly. Like, it may happen, great. It may not happen, that's okay. It's that is so no longer my goal. It's to wake up and feel good. So you're out there, you're not feeling that great right now. I hear you. Like, it's been some crazy times. Life already to begin with was crazy, and now this is just taking it to the extremes in some cases. So there's a very simple and amazing way to turn that around, and we are here to help. So I'll put all the links around this video, and make sure that you know how to access, and you can access either one of us, but we are here to help, and we are here to tell you that it's possible to turn back the time in aging, and to just be lighthouses for others around you who also want vibrant health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is the greatest contribution that anyone can give right now.
Big time. Well, I am excited to dive in deeper with you, my dear, and to just support each other, support others. This is the beginning of something beautiful, and I'm super stoked.
I am stoked too.
Thank you for taking the time to chat, and so much love. Mwah.
Mwah. Thank you, my dear. So much love to you.
Bye.